There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, two-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small, some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name. Well, technically it's our first.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Supercheap Auto East Coast V8 series, coming to you tonight from the wonderful Road America circuit in Elkhart Lake in the United States. I'm John Van Ree. With me, I've got Mark Duggan, and I think we're in for another good night of racing, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. This track always turns it on. Logged in tonight thinking iRacing is attempting to rain. We've got cloudy conditions, which we're not used to, but yeah, always good to watch a V8 supercar race around Road America.
Yeah, it is a sensational circuit, and I'm just going to go throw it up on the screen so everyone can have a look at it now. And as you can see, we start on the Road America straight, where we run into turn one, and then we sort of sweep through the typical American corner of a straight section called turn two, down into the hard, fast turn three, down the back straightaway into the moraine sweep, downhill, hard braking corner, good overtaking opportunities, down in through turn five. And then we come up the hill under the bridge into turn six. Car gets a little bit unstable. Got to be a bit careful coming through there. And then after going through the left-hander, we sweep through turn seven into Hurry Downs, where we then brake hard again for another passing opportunity for the left-hand corner into the big carousel, where we accelerate greatly out of that. The high-speed fast corner known as the Kink, and then we come down through the forested Kettle Bottoms into the infamous Canada corner, another great overtaking opportunity point. And then we come up through the Thunder Valley into the Bill Mitchell Bend, where we sweep through turn 14 and up the hill on Road America straight to do it all again. So she's a long circuit. She's about 6 kilometres long, pretty much similar to the length of Bathurst. These boys, though, have an absolute cracking time around this place.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, John, it's similar length to Bathurst, similar fuel burn. We're about 4.9 litres a lap from memory. We've got 44 laps tonight. Track conditions are pretty favourable for the drivers, so yeah, expecting some pretty close and hard racing right throughout the field.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing what these guys can do. And, of course, got a couple of minutes left here before they jump into their qualifying session. Just trying to sort a couple of minor things out. It'll be good. James Scott, of course, will be the man to watch. Jared Filsell is in the practice session with him as well. Very interested to see how these boys go, of course. It's shaping up for the Pro Series tomorrow night. So these guys are probably using this as the last hit out for their setups. So looking forward to seeing what that means for everybody. As we just continue to have a look around the circuit here. Try and find someone on track. Jordan Ross, one of the hot drivers from last season, second in the series. Of course, Jordan was whacked over the nose with the big stick by the stewards at Long Beach last week. So he'll be looking to make amends for that.
Just about to come to an end of this practice session. We've got James Scott with the quickest lap in practice with a 203.737. Jordan Ross 203.8. Dylan Rutter 204.9. Jared Feisel jumps to the top with a 203.6 at the last minute there. So about to kick off qualifying. Interesting times ahead. Very, very quick times.
Just looking forward to see what these lads can do. Of course, we've still got a relatively smallish, high-quality field again tonight as they all start rolling out. Of course, it's all in qualifying, 15 minutes. The trick here is to get a little bit of space on the circuit, make the most of it yourself. Zach McDonald, the young 9.5 Sim Sports Charger, he is definitely one of the ones to watch tonight as well, working his way up through the system. And then, of course, you can see it's the 9.5 boys working together, Craig Schultz, Cameron G. Jones. A few of those lads out there tonight. And, of course, the boss man himself, Sean McNamara. He's out for a spin, normally in the chat, giving us a bit of chirp. And of course, if you are in the chat, let us know who you're supporting tonight. Let us know who you're following. Try and keep a close eye on everybody. Hey, these guys just about into the carousel now. Interestingly enough, we've got two boys who've hung right back, which is a bit bizarre. Of course, with such a long out lap and long in lap, these guys cannot afford to miss their lap up, and they can't afford to dilly-dally too long trying to jockey for a position, as we're seeing someone scooting through there. Not sure who that was.
Yeah, you really don't have a lot of time to mess about, as you said, John. You've got to get a reasonable out lap without putting too much heat in the tyres. Then you've got a hot lap, then you got to get around as quick as you can again, pit, put some new tyres on, and go again. So yeah, pretty tricky to try and find the space and get the right level of temperature in the tyres and run a good hot lap. So we're seeing plenty of guys know how to manage themselves pretty well, but very easy to get an off track around here, so which would negate any time you might set, and then you'd have to reset and go again. So obviously there's no towing unless you request for a tow from race control, but then you probably lose your ability to participate in qualifying any further.
Putting a lot of pressure on as we jump on board with Adam Briggs. So it's not the widest of tracks either, but still plenty of passing opportunities. You can see.
Sorry, Joe, I was about to say Briggsy's picked a good man to follow around here, because Jared, we saw in practice, was the quickest, so yeah, not a bad car to follow.
See, they're using all the circuit and then some. Of course, you want to make sure you get yourself in the right spot. I think we're doing 43 laps tonight. So straight up sprint, unlimited tyres. Here in the carousel there, how you got to juggle that throttle.
44 laps we got, John. So
44, there we go. Ash has added an extra one in.
Roughly around 290k mark, I believe.
Yeah, yep, fair distance. See the car in front, so well balanced. James Scott setting purple sectors everywhere at the moment. Let's start to see some times rolling in. James Scott jumps to the front. What can Briggsy do? We've been sitting here on Briggsy for a little bit. He's crossing the stripe. And Briggs jumps up to P3. That is a cracking result for young Adam. I think he'd be pretty chuffed with that. Let's have a look at a few of our other people. Chris Smart He's still circulating on track. So he's one of our late guys out on the circuit, I think.
Dylan Rudd with a great lap as well. He's done a 2:03.6. Adam Briggs 2:03.7. James Scott a 2:03.92. 3:92, sorry. So yeah, pretty close times there. Jared Feisel 2:03.8. Tom Freer, Anthony Visma. Great job from Anthony Visma there, currently sitting in 6th place.
Yeah, I reckon he'd be pretty chuffed with that, the old Viz. And just trying to get that to rejuggle. Just looking down the order though, a few guys. Tim Mulford's got a time in. He's got himself sitting in 12th. So the Super 2 boys with Visma and Angus up the tree a little bit. Of course, Craig Schultz and Vella. Let me just check something while I'm talking. I think we're looking for some really outstanding results here this evening.
John McNamara's had a couple of off tracks, so his lap's been deleted, so he's going to have to get round and go again. Brenton Hobson, another one with a off track with a deleted lap, so similar to Formula 1 at the moment.
Yes, they're all having some errors left, right and centre here. Shout out to Mark Dial in the chat as well. As you can see, starting to get themselves established. Macca going relatively slow. Might certainly try and find someone on a bit of a pace. Amy and John Stone. I think he's ducking into the pit lane as well. But Jordan Ross, he didn't get a lap in on that first one. He's about to start now for his lap. So let's see what Jordan can do. Clean track in front of him, so he's pretty safe there. And you've always got to be conscious of.
Got Brenton Hobson coming behind him, who was, I think, a little bit put off there by Zach McDonald coming out of the pit. Missed the apex into turn 1. Unfortunately, not sure if he got an off track, but he did run a little bit wide.
Yeah, a little bit unlucky for Hobbo. Of course, luckily the smaller field and a big long race, opportunities will arise to work their ways back up. They can't set a good time. Nearly everybody on an outlap at the moment, except for Jordan Ross and Hobson. They're definitely battling this one out, these boys. Try and get a good time, and it's ticking away. We're 8 minutes 40 down.
There's only 6 minutes to go, so not too many. Last opportunity, really, I think, for a lot of these guys.
We're very interested to see if Jordan Ross probably wouldn't even have enough time now to get back out the settle lap. So this would be his last roll of the dice. Oh, very close. That could be an off track in itself. Be touch and go. He's still going hard at it, so you might be all right. Usually when they get a 1X, they back off a little bit. So of course, the boy from the Gold Coast having an absolute cracker at this. Coming up the hill, and I'd say he did get that 1X. He's in a hurry to get back into the pit to go again.
Same with Brenton Hobson.
Yeah, very interesting. Could we see two of our big names? And here we go. Have a look at this at the back. All these boys. Look at this. This is what we were worried about. The Ducks and Drakes are all trying to line up, get themselves in position. And we sort of see Jared's now gone. James, sorry, trying to go round everybody else. They've all managed to get themselves into a line. There was some other traffic out on the circuit as well. James Scott here putting the pedal down. Dylan Rudd still in the pits, which is interesting. Obviously happy sitting in that second spot. Definitely in for a classic showdown tonight between the 9.5 Sim Sports Synergy Sim Racing.
Not sure. Jared looks like he's backed out of that one.
Yeah, definitely does. So around the carousel, a little bit of traffic in front still as well. Hopefully it's not going to impact in this. Looks like it might be Riley Bilson in the blue car. Fishy car in there as well. So James Scott here coming up into a bit of traffic, which is what we talked about. Don't want to have traffic on your hot lap.
I think this lap's done for Jones.
Yep. Of course, these boys are also doing their hot laps. They've got every right to be there. This is the Ducks and Drakes of an all-in qualifying session as James peels off into pit lane. And they all do. A little bit of Ducks and Drakes going into the pits as well. Jump on with John Stone. John Stone continues on now. He sets a reasonable time, gets himself up into 7th spot. That's a great effort from Damien. Riley Bilson gets himself into the top 10. He's done relatively well there, and working a little bit further down, Dave Kirby into the top 10. Great little result from Kirby. He'd be happy sitting there. And of course, Timmy Mulford sitting in 11th. Have a look who else is still rolling. Christian Smart's about to set a time. Crosses the stripe now. And Christian moves up into 7th. So the track getting hotter as we go on here, I think.
Yeah, some good laps being thrown down. We've still got Jordan Ross, Sean McNamara and Brenton Hobson, 3 very quick drivers yet to set a lap. So it'll be interesting to see where they come out, if they can lay down a time.
It's Macca coming around the last corner now. Car looking very stable. Let's see what he can do here. Coming up across the stripe. And McNamara, he must have been on his outlap. Or he got a 1X, so I'm not sure what's happened there to Macca. Find out in a minute, I guess. This clock is now ticking down. I'd say he's on a go.
Yeah, I think he was on an outlap, John, because I don't see another
Time for that.
It's his name.
Yeah. Anthony Visma's on the outlap as well. Don't think he's going to make it round in time to stripe. Chris Smart, who we saw set a time. I think he might be done. 30 seconds to go.
Jordan Ross and Brenton Hobson coming down the back straight, so they're not far away from clicking over and setting a time, hopefully.
Oh, this is going to be touch and go. Only got 10-15 seconds. I don't think they're going to make it, Mark.
Yeah, I don't know if not sure if the clock's set to just click straight over. checkered flag is out, so they should be able to.
Was-
Yeah, we've still got 3 minutes on the clock, so everybody should be able to finish their lap.
Yep. They cross the stripe. Ross into 5th. Hobson into 6th. Just in by the skin of their teeth. Did that the hard way. They'll be looking to do a better job of that tomorrow night. Let's jump on with Visma. Visma is on the outlap, so he won't make it round. Philsell is on an outlap. He won't make it round as he jumps on the brakes. And Simon Vella.
Got Sean McNamara coming out of the last corner now.
See what Macca can do. And Macca goes into P9 with a 2:04.63. And let's just see if anyone else on track looking to see. I think that is basically it. I think the last car might be Robbie Bradbury. Another one of the Pacific Esports racing entries. He crosses the stripe and bounces into P19 still. So, bit of a battle ahead for a few of these boys, but it's going to be a long race. Opportunity to knuckle down. See where it takes them. Let's have a look on track.
Still got Damien Johnson. Not sure if he's on a hot lap. He's just about to come into the last corner now. So see if he heads to the stripe or the pits.
After the
Into
pits.
the pits.
Yeah. Simon Vella we saw go across the stripe, so I think he's just rolling back as well. And Robbie Bradbury was the other man on track. I think these boys are just working their way back at the moment.
So that's our grid set by the look of it, John.
Yep. I think we're in for a bit of a cracker tonight. It's going to be a great showdown again between Scott and Rudd. Briggs in the middle of it. Phil Sell looking to get himself up and active. Just wait for this to tick over so I can show the grid. And I reckon we're going to be in for a good one, Mark. I'm really looking forward to this. These boys, a lot to prove.
It's rare that I'm disappointed with the race at Road America.
That's exactly it. As we jump to the grid and have a quick look as we have James Scott on pole. And then we have Dylan Rudd sharing the front row with him. And Adam Briggs from Synergy Sim Racing alongside Jared Philsell on the second row. And then after that, we have on the third row, Jordan Ross and Brenton Hobson with that late time that they threw down. Tom Freer from Synergy Sim Racing is in fourth row in seventh alongside Anthony Visma, the first of our Super 2 cars. And then on the next row, we've got 9.5 Sim Sports, Sean McNamara and Synergy Sim Racing's Damien Johnstone. That was a great result from Visma to be sitting in 8th. Christian Smart in 11th alongside Dave Kirby from Fishy Motorsports. And then we move on to Michael Angus from Fishy Motorsports as well. Tim Mulford from Phoenix Racing in 14th. 15th, Riley Bilson from 9.5 Sim Sports. And then we've got Simon Vella in 16th. 17th, we've got Zach McDonald. 18th is 9.5 Sim Sports, Craig Schultz. And then Robbie Bradbury from Pacific Esports Racing in 19th alongside Sim Riggs Infinity Motorsports, Will Munro in 20th. Dave Coleman from Fishy Motorsports didn't get a time set, I don't think, out of memory. So Dave will start from rear of grid. And Seb's obviously jumped in to help out our race steward, Reg James, who's also has Richard Barella in helping him in the safety car. So definitely looking at a cracking race here, I think, Mark.
Yep, absolutely. Tricky start this one, slightly uphill from the standing start on the grid, but very, very high closing speed into turn one, and we often see incidents unfold into turn one. So boys will have to be on their best behaviour. Then we're going to see a big, long drag down the back straight there. So I wouldn't want to be the one leading on lap 1, I don't think. You might get swamped, but yeah, it's going to be a good race. Road America, as we said, always turns it on, and we're only about 30 seconds away from getting underway, so really looking forward to it. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Dylan Rudd can do in amongst all these SSR drivers.
Yes, it's going to be very interesting to see what Dylan can do. And of course, some big names in that group up the front there. Phil Sell and Scott. This will be on for young and old, I think. But, you know, you don't win this race in the first corner or on the first lap. You've got 44 of them to do. It's going to be a long way. As just about to start gridding here. As we are not far away, waiting for the lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, lights out. We're away. Very slow start from Briggs. Looks like Scott's got the jump. Dylan Rudd under pressure already from Faisal on the inside. Coming down into turn 1 for the first time. Everyone lines up single file. Scott, Faisal, Rudd, Briggs, Ross, Freer, Hobson, Visma, McNamara and Johnstone. That rounds out our top 10.
That was a great jump from Jared Faisal there. He gained 2 places in the first 100 metres, so really good jump from Jared, but he's got Dylan Rudd tucked right under his wing at the moment.
Yeah, Dylan looking very racy here. Does he ever think about it? No, he tucks himself back into line. Long way to go around this place. 2 compulsory stops. Need to be looking after those tyres. A little bit of bouncing off the curbs for these boys as they start to settle in.
Dave Coleman, another one with a cracking start, already up 6 spots from his starting position. So great opening half a lap for Dave Coleman.
Best. Dave from Fishing Motorsports doing really well. He's got Zach McDonald in front of him now, Dave Kirby, his teammate. And of course the action up the front as we come through the kink for the first time. Heading down into Kettle Bottoms. Yeah, looking like we're all filing in quite nicely here. Dave Kirby with an incident. Not sure what's happened to Dave. Have a quick look on the replay. He's just gone a bit deep into Canada Corner, found the marbles. Out of the kitty litter, gets himself back onto the track, but losing quite a few spots in the process.
Yeah, Dave will be kicking himself after that. But a very, very good opening lap from all the drivers here. Very clean start, which is not always the case at Road America. So, yeah, congrats to all the drivers. Doing an excellent job. We've got James Scott out in front. He's got Jared Faisal only 3/10 behind him. And then we've got Dylan Rudd about nearly a second back from James Scott. So the boys have filed into single file now. And
Well, we just had a incident with Chris Smart. Very rare, not something we don't see very often. Just going to jump back on the Supercheap Auto replay. A little bit unlucky, I think, for Chris. But we'll just have a quick look at that one again down in turn 3. Coming down the hill, a little bit of a tap from the behind, actually, into Chris. And caused Chris to lose control and into the back of Visma. So some of our big name Super 2 drivers are already in a bit of trouble here. But we'll let that one sort itself out with race control. Not sure some other names in that there, but I'm not sure who they were or why. Let's continue back on track. And that gap up the front now, Phil Sell putting a lot of pressure on James Scott. They definitely Going to be a long race for these two, I think. Dylan Rudd nicely sitting back watching this, I think. Quite happy to see these two battling like this at close quarters.
Yeah, absolutely. Dylan probably knows that Jared can do a bit of a big send at times, so yeah, he may well just feel like he'll just observe this, try and hold station and just see how these two boys battle out, because we know James is pretty ferocious in defending and Jared is pretty ferocious in attack, so yeah, it can be a recipe for some spicy racing, that's for sure, and Dylan's probably in the best spot for the moment.
Yeah, nicely sitting in there. Coleman involved in an incident. We'll come back to that in a minute. We'll just save this battle for another couple of time as Phil Sell has a look on the inside. He's going to get it done under brakes. Coming out too wide still. You can see Rudd poking his nose in here as well.
Yeah, everybody testing the waters at the moment.
There's some great little battle pack here going all the way back to Sean McNamara.
Yeah, the first to 8, you can throw a blanket over them really. There's nothing between any of them, so yeah, it's going to be pretty tentative couple of laps, I think. I think James Scott clearly got some good straight line speed in that car, but I don't know how much longer Jared's going to just sit behind coming down these main straights. So yeah, going to be interesting next few laps, I think.
It's very different for James, not having his own way. This is a great little battle we've got going.
And then of course you've got the likes of Brenton Hobson, who will be sitting back here saving as much fuel as he possibly can to try and pick up some time in the pits off these guys.
Of course, as we saw last week, Brenton Hobson getting himself on the podium behind Richie Stenaway and Brody Kostecki. Hobson, here we go. No, he has a look, has a think about it. Of course, then we had James Scott in 4th, Briggs in 5th, Taliancic in 6th, Jones 7th, Johnson 8th. So these boys definitely had an epic battle. But the wide open spaces of Road America, completely different. As Riley Bilson gets a drive-through penalty for not giving racing room in contact with Christian Smart. So that was that incident we saw in turn 3 a little bit earlier. And I did say something happened to Dave, and let's have a quick look what's happened to Coleman. So his car's stopped there for some reason. Might just go back, facing the wrong way. Might be this one, coming down into turn 1. And a little bit unstable off the curbs, bounced off the cushions, hasn't done too bad. That is the story of Mr. Coleman.
Yeah, unfortunate for Dave, undone all that good work he done early on. He picked up 8 spots from his starting position, but he's given all that back away now. I saw Tom Freer go deep at the end of Marine sweep down the back straight there, and he lost the position to Brenton Hobson, so a little bit of a gap opened up between Brenton and Jordan Ross now, which I'm sure Brent might be keen to close down as quick as possible.
Yeah, Brenton got to keep working on that gap. And we continue along. As you can see, Scott's pulled out that little bit. Rudd's got Phil Sell to the sword.
Also back in front of Rudd now.
Of course, this is allowing Briggs and Ross to nicely tuck up behind these boys. Jordan Ross sitting in the box seat, watching all this going on in front of him.
Yeah, plenty of clutching going on, coming down that back straight. So the boys are in fuel save mode to try and, as we say, like if you can't make up a spot on the track, best way to do it is making it up in the pits by having to take less fuel.
Definitely a bit of that going on. Just going to have a little bit further back. Riley Bilson's made up 6 spots to get into the top 10. He's sitting 9th. He's got Damien Johnstone tucked up behind him. These boys are about 3.5 seconds back from Sean McNamara. Then I go a little bit further back. Dave Kirby. He's chasing down Craig Schultz with Timmy Mulford behind him. A few battles all up and down the grid at the moment. But James Scott up front has managed to get out to a second now over Dylan Rudd. Of course.
Yeah, we got Riley Bilson still got to serve that drive through, I believe. So he's gonna tumble down the order when he enters pit lane.
So James Scott looking quite balanced. Jordan Ross, he does look a fairly racy sit behind Briggsy here. Ace group still staying together.
Yeah, Brenton Hobson just struggling to close that gap to Jordan after Tom Freer went a little bit deep down into turn 5, and it just opened that gap up, and it's been a little bit of a struggle for Brenton to get back on the train, because I'm sure he will be feeling he needs to get right back under Jordan's wing so he can start fuel saving again.
Yeah, Jordan sitting nicely in that box seat. All tucked right up behind the rear wing. As we head down towards Canada Corner. Through the kink first though. Down the fast straightaway.
Zach McDonald doing a good job as well. He's up 7 positions from his starting grid, so great job so far from Zach McDonald to be just inside the top 10 there.
Oh, Bilson's been disqualified for towing without permission. Briggs, this gap, very close. Floating now at around 1/10 to 2/10. I think Jordan Ross starting to get a bit of a hurry up for Briggsy, I think. As continuing down. So Briggsy definitely under a lot of pressure from Jordan Ross. And you can see reflecting a little bit for the time in front. Dropping off a little bit now from Dylan Rudd. So definitely creating some issues here as we continue along. James Scott has seen Jared Philsell halve that gap that he had over the last couple of laps as well. So Philsell now on the move, getting that gap back in under half a second. So back in the tow. Shout out to Stephen Murray. No, I got Mark in with me. Mark's
Yeah, I'm
with us
here,
now.
Steve. Yeah, I'm here, mate. Good to have you in the chat again. Yeah, I was just crunching some numbers there. They should be able to get around 22 laps, full pace driving out of a tank. So 44 laps if they're going to do a one stopper, or is it 2 compulsory pit stops?
Two compulsory stops. So we're looking to see either divvy it up or you try and go long in that first tank and then have good tyres to fight it out at the end. No tyre limitations in tonight's race either.
We did see Jared Feisel pit extremely early at Long Beach last week, but then completely ran out of tyres at the end of the race and started to fall back through the field. So be interesting to see whether he tries that strategy again.
Yeah, definitely some strategy. May not be doing that tonight though. Could be tucked in behind doing the old fuel save game. These two.
Jordan Ross has got in front of Briggsy here, and now Brenton Hobson's trying to close up onto the rear of Adam Briggs.
Tom Freer in the background there, off in the weeds. That was a very big off for Tom. It's going to go Supercheap Auto replay. It's almost as if he missed his braking marker. Off the curb and flicked the other way. Ouch.
Yeah, that was unusual from Tom. Yeah, well, I've seen him run deep a couple of times into various corners. Maybe he's just not happy with where he's got the brakes situated at the moment. But yeah, unusual mistake from Tom and an unusual way to get speared into the wall there.
Yeah, definitely snapped back.
Big damage on the car, big damage.
I'd say there'd be a meatball there. It's going to have a little bit further back. Simon Vella's up 6 spots into the top 10. That's a great drive from the Pacific Esports entry. But he's got a bit of pressure behind him from Angus, Kirby, Schultz and Mulford. So these boys having a good little battle here as well.
Yeah, these boys are nose to tail. We've got Simon Vella, Michael Angus, Dave Kirby, Craig Schultz and Tim Mulford, all very tightly bunched. So these boys are having a cracking race.
And Angus having a bit of a look on the outside there, or the inside, into turn one. And just going to jump back up the front. James Scott, that gap down to a 10th again. Feisel definitely looking for a way past here. Just keep an eye on that gap back to Rudd, which was out to 1.2. We could actually see these two battling bring Rudd back into this. With Jordan Ross, who's also on a hard charge to get into the group.
Tyres are 9 laps old now, and 9 laps around Road America is a fair old distance because she's a long track, and yeah, tyre wear around here is pretty severe as well, especially around places like the Carousel.
Yeah, a very good all-round test is this circuit. As we come up through Bill Mitchell Bend, up over the crest. Then back on the long straightaway. Bill Sell getting himself up nice and close. Looking for a run. Does he get it here? Well, a little bit of a tap. Just letting James know. First tap's a warning, second tap you're off. So a great man once said to me.
Morse code still working in the V8s here tonight.
And here we go again. Definitely. Letting James know he's there. I'll be so careful. It's very easy to unsettle the car in front. See both yous end off the track playing these sorts of games. Gap to Dylan Rudd's now out to 1.4, so these boys maintaining a reasonable pace still.
Yeah, Dylan will be starting to lose that draft effect now.
Yeah, and that'll hurt around this place. But Jared Feistel hasn't lost the draft. See, coming right up behind.
Zach McDonald's still the big mover of the night so far. He's up to 9th position. He's up 8 spots. Craig Schultz is up 5 spots. They're the two big movers so far tonight.
Yeah, doing very well, young Zach. Only 2 spots back from Sean McNamara. See how much that draft on these long straightaways impacts these cars. Dave Kirby in an incident as an off track as well. We'll have a look at that one in a second. Let's get to the end of the Marseille Downs. Whoop. Let's have a look what's happened to Mr. Kirby. Supercheap auto replay. Oh, bit of contact there with Vella, I think, between Angus. It's allowed Schultz up the middle, so that was in the last corner. Timmy Mulford trying to pick a side as well, touches the wall. A good little battle going on up the back there by the looks too, Mark.
Yeah, these boys are racing hard. It's a shame there for
Just keep an eye on that one. As Feistel and Scott still nose to tail.
Craig Schultz was happy about it all, I'm sure. He's the sea's just parted for him there.
It's straight through. And it's going to go back. Mr. Kirby under a bit of pressure again, or putting a bit of pressure on Mulford this time. Some battle-worn cars already up the back here.
I'm not sure what happened to Schultz, but he made all them positions up and then he's lost them all.
Yep.
Of course, now we've got Christian Smarts join this battle after he was sent spinning off with Riley Bilson earlier in the evening.
Of course, Christian's car looking a bit worse for wear. So as he just nicely tickles past Schultz as well. Are these Super 2 boys back here? They definitely put on a show.
It's as tough back here as it is at the front.
I think so. He's plenty of diving left and right going into turn 1. Vella has a bit of a look. Mulford has a bit of a look. Poor old Kirby, he'd know they're all there. Of course, Christian backed off a little bit. And here comes Vella up the inside of Mulford. Oh, it's a big send. It's plenty of tyre smoke, a little bit of a tap. Smart up the inside. Oh, Vella, can he hang on to it? It's not a very uncommon spot to see him going 3 wide. Definitely some sheep stations for these boys.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not holding back down at the mid-pack here. It's on for young and old, and good drive from Christian to get back up here after, like I said, he got sent off into the weeds earlier on. But poor old Anthony Vismer, he's a long way behind still, and that'll be pretty frustrating for Anthony after such a good qualifying effort.
Yes, he showed some good pace in qualifying. Definitely getting a lot quicker as Anthony. As Smart tries the outside at Canada Corner. Mulford's still under a lot of pressure here. Looks like Smart might get through. No. Into the last corner. Christian playing the smart move, tucking up behind. Get the draft now. Mulford goes to the inside line. This brings Vella into play. This is some epic racing from these boys.
Yeah, it's 3 wide up the front straight. Now it's going to get a bit spicy down here, I think.
Oh, you might have the big names up the front, but these boys can put on a show. All tucked back in line again. This has brought Robbie Bradbury up into the battle as well. He'd be sitting back here going, waiting for it to happen. As Vella locks him up out wide this time. And we all finally, after a lap and a half, get back into single file.
Yeah, Timmy Mulford doing a great job defending his position. Be frustrating the hell out of Christian Smart, I'm sure, but they're all still running, which is the main thing. Christian desperate to get past.
Yeah, Chris working very hard here. He's come out of the carousel. His size now 13 laps old.
Because Michael Angus was in this battle group before, and he's absolutely just cleared off out from Timmy Mulford at the moment. He was right in amongst this battle pack before, and now he's a couple of seconds up the road.
Damien Johnstone, one of the first ones to blink into the pits. As we just jump back up the front again, that gap closed to under a tenth. Thought Jared might have been on the move, but he didn't. So it's going to go back to the other battle where they're under a tenth. These boys. And Michael Angus drive through of contact with the 393.
Yeah, that was with Robbie Vella. We heard Robbie call that into race control earlier, and it looked like Michael had just kind of locked it up coming into the final corner and took Vella out. So bad luck for Michael. He's going to drop.
Oh, no, Craig.
Craig thought he'd lay it all on the line into turn 1. Paid the ultimate price.
The big sin. A little bit unlucky. There's Coleman's in pit lane as well with Johnstone. Johnstone coming back out. Craig Schultz back under the way. Chris Smart still tucked up behind Mulford with Vella. And we'll just check on Jordan Ross. He's still got Briggsy behind him. Hasn't closed a lot on Dylan Rudd. That gap's still at about a second and a half.
Yeah, Dylan's about 3 seconds behind Jared Feisel now, and Feisel and James Scott are separated by nothing still. So looks like, as it stands, the battle here for the victory tonight is between Jared Feisel and James Scott, based on pace, but there's still a long way to go. We've still got 30 laps to go around Road America, so still plenty to unfold here, especially for the minor placings.
Definitely. Of course, Zach McDonald, he's running by himself at the moment. Big gaps around him, but he's doing really well. He's into the top 10, up 9 spots into 8th, so he'd be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, Zach's done an outstanding job tonight, just chipped away and minded his own business, and yeah, he's entrenched in the top 10 now, so yeah, he's done an excellent job. He's up 9 spots.
And Chris Smart's gone in for the new look car as Robbie Bradbury comes under pressure from Craig Schultz. So Craig on the warpath, recovering from the loss that he had earlier in turn 1.
One of those tracks where we don't often see a safety car either. There's plenty of runoff area. Unless we get someone with a blown motor that ends up stuck on track, it's rare that we do see safety cars here.
Yeah, plenty of runoff. Just going to go back up the front. Keep an eye on these boys. They must be starting to think possibly of a stop soon. Jared Feisel, do you think about cashing in on the fuel you've saved and going undercut?
Well, we often see James Scott, generally he's one of the drivers who takes the longest first stint out of everybody. So it's rare we see James go for an undercut. So I'm tipping Jared probably will pit before James.
Yeah, it'll be a case of seeing what they do. Of course, these two race together in Scops, the Enduro Series. So probably got a fair idea how they both think from doing those races. Even though the tyres are 16 laps old, still very smooth driving from young James. Into the carousel. It's one of those corners, very hard to get across until you actually drive on it. How difficult it is to just feather that throttle. Get the right speed, don't spin up the tyres. Same thing with the exit out of the King, and coming down now through Kettle Bottoms.
Yeah, deadly part of the track there coming out of that King. Seen many a car spat into the wall there.
You don't get too much room to have a mistake. Usually when you do, it's big.
Adam Briggs still doing a great job. He's still all over the back of Jordan Ross at the moment. Jordan hasn't been able to shake him. Although Jordan has slowly worked his way. He's slowly closing that gap to Dylan Rudd, who's currently sitting in 3rd spot. So Jordan working really hard and bringing Adam along with him.
But what happened, Jack Slade, what happened to Tom Freer coming out of Hurry Downs, clipped a curb, the car spat itself in the opposite direction pretty hard, straight across the kitty litter into the tyre barrier. car was badly damaged and he's gone back to the pits and hasn't come back out. So making the assumption that he may have had an equipment failure. So not 100% certain. But yeah, that's what happened to Mr. Freer as Simon Vella goes into the pits.
Jordan Ross with a big lock-up into turn 5 allows Briggsy to get through.
And Jordan won't like that one. He'll be fighting that back pretty hard. Hobson lurking in the background.
Yeah, Hobbo's had to work very hard to get back on terms with these boys.
Jordan tucked up behind well and truly here. It's lap 17 of 44, about to start lap 18. And Damien Johnstone is probably the leader out of our pitted cars at the moment. As we see Ross Hobson peel off into the pits. Briggsy keeps going. And Faisal looking a bit racy again, closed that gap back down to under 2/10. And drive through for Christian Smart for contact with 393 with Simon Vella. So that one didn't show up on my list, so not sure. Could potentially be back on lap 16. Might just have a quick look at a replay with Vella. Might see this could be it. No, it's not it. No, it's Vella going for himself.
Yeah, sorry, John. I did see one. I think it was at turn 6, possibly, turn 6. I think it was. They slightly touched. There wasn't a lot in it, so I'm surprised Christian's been given a drive-through for that. But anyway, the race control would have gone through every angle and had a good look at it. I'm just looking at the lap times of Jared Faisal. The consistency in these lap times is staggering.
Yeah, they are on the money, these two. These two drivers would be the top 5 drivers in Australian sim racing at the moment.
Briggsy coming into pit now, trying to cover off Jordan Ross and Brenton Hobson.
And let's have a look. Where did Hobson come out? Ross is back in 11th at the moment. Coming around through Hurry Downs. Sorry, through the carousel. Continuing on, let's see where Ross comes out. Briggsy still in the pit lane. Hobson still within eye shot as well of Jordan Ross. So where's Briggs? Still on the jacks.
Yeah, still stationary.
Here's Jordan Ross. They've got the jump. Only just. Hobson through as well. Briggs at the back of the train now. It could have just been that little bit of extra fuel that Hobbo saved. Opens the door up. As we just roll up now, have a look at Mulford. He's under a fair bit of pressure from Craig Schultz. Schultz there looking a bit loose. And back up the front, Scott and Faisal still haven't pitted. Rudd hasn't pitted, McNamara hasn't pitted, McDonald hasn't pitted. Kirby in 6th, Mulford, Schultz, Robbie Bradbury all have not pitted yet. Everyone else in the field has pitted. As Faisal peels off. Hammer time for James Scott now. Got to put his foot down and go. Of course, you'd expect Faisal to have done fairly well. Hit, it's fuel saving. Lap 20 of 44. So only 25 laps to go here.
Yeah, just looking at Jordan Ross, Brendan Hobson, Adam Briggs, all stationary for around the same amount of time, a couple of tenths in it. So they would have all taken on similar fuel, possibly almost taken enough fuel on to get home from here, and they've just got one more tyre stop to do.
Yeah, it's pretty much what it looks like. So Ross was 29.6, Hobson 30.1, Johnstone was 27.6, 33 for Vella. So definitely interesting to see this rolls out as those boys go across. James Scott, see what he does as we get rid of that graphic. So James here coming through the carousel. And Faisal, he's got himself back out in 6th. So surely Scott would have to pit to cover him off here.
I think even if he pits to cover him off, I think Jared will still get the undercut. So we often see James just knuckle down at this stage of the race and put in a couple of extra laps to try and maybe see Faisal use his tyres up on his out laps to try and gain a bit more space between him and Jared. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if James dives straight in here.
Yeah, James has gone in. Macca's going to keep going. Someone's going to keep going another. Let's jump back to McDonald. McNamara now takes the race lead. What does McDonald do? He'd probably keep going too, I think. He's in. Kirby.
So Jared was stationary for 29.8 as well. So they're all similar stationary times for these boys.
As Kirby goes the extra lap. And here's Faisal. There's Scott still on the jacks. So Faisal definitely getting the jump here, I think. Oops, that was meant to be Scott. Scott's coming out. There's Faisal in front. So we have a change for the lead. Jared Faisal gets the jump on James Scott. And then we've got Kirby and McNamara who's still yet to pit in front of these boys. Then 1.3, that's a reasonable jump. I'll just double check those pit stop stationary times.
I was just looking at that myself, John. Faisal and Scott were stationary the exact same length of time. So just goes to show you what the undercut is worth.
James Scott now be throwing everything out to try and close that gap. He's got it down to 0.8. There's still a long way to go. Only on lap 21 of 44. We've got another stop to happen. Might just go back, check on that Jordan Ross battle. They've caught themselves up to Mulford. Of course, he still hasn't pitted. And we've got Craig Schultz in the middle of this as well. Mulford sees Ross go up the inside. Ross looks like he's through. It looks like Briggs is going to make his way through as well. Of course, Mulford will know he's not battling with these boys. He's more worried about what's going on with Schultz.
Yeah, I've been watching Schultz and Mulford for a few laps there, and they were door to door, you know, pretty much every corner, so they were having a ding-dong battle.
Whoa, Hobbo! A little bit loose in the back there. I think it was Hobbo, or was it Mulford?
No, it was
Hobbo.
Mulford got a little, Mulford got a little bit loose, but then Hobbo doubled down and went bigger. So yeah, I think Hobbo was just trying to avoid what was happening in front of him with Mulford.
It definitely cracking battle here with these boys. Hobson now, you're trying to get his nose to have a look.
Yeah, Hobbo didn't get a great exit there, and he would have been hoping to get a good exit to close down on Timmy Mulford, but not going to happen this time round.
Of course, he wants to make sure he stays with Ross. Doesn't want to lose the back of that slipstream. Oh, Mulford goes to the inside. Plenty of room given. Hobson gets past, leaving Mulford now back to his sparring partner Schultz. They can resume hostilities. As Hobson puts his head down now and tries to close the gap that he's lost. As we jump up the front here, James Scott now has put himself right on the back of Jared Feisel. Still a long way to go.
Yeah, we're only at the halfway point, John. It's feels like there's been a lot of racing going on so far. Feisel in for his second stop. Very interesting strategy there from Jared.
Trying another huge undercut, I'd imagine. What does Scott do now? Does he keep rolling, or does he try and cover him off? There's Mulford and Schultz making it look real down the main straight.
I think we'll see James just battle on his own here. He'll just try and make as much headway as he can. I think James will be coming back out around, my prediction, around lap 35, 34 with some fresh tyres, which will give him a good run to the flag.
So Feisel's got himself back out in 11th. Just lost him to scenic. What's going on there? Sure what's happening. Just bear with us for a minute. We've got James Scott back. Feisel dropped out, Mark.
That's a shame. I guess that leaves the race for James Scott all there for the taking now.
Yep. I'm not sure what's happened to Jared, but he is stationary in the pits. A little bit disappointing. It was shaping up to a good battle.
Yeah, that's a real disappointment. But anyway, we've still got plenty of good battles happening on track, especially Jordan Ross, Brenton Hobbs and Adam Briggs. That battle's been raging all race long, as has Who am I trying to think of? Craig Schultz and Timmy Mulford. They've been having a ding-dong battle the entire race.
Of course, Schultz and Mulford still to make their first stop. And they both peel off together. Mulford will be looking forward to this. Get that panel beating sorted out on the car. So those boys go through. James Scott, still our race leader. He's a good 10 seconds up the road from Adam Briggs. And of course, Jordan Ross sitting back in third behind Briggsy. So Jordan will be saving a bit of fuel, waiting for this last round of pit stops to happen. And Damien Johnstone, he's up 4 spots in 6. He's plugged along pretty well tonight. Done a relatively good race. Adam Briggs still under pressure from James Scott.
Jordan Ross, I think you mean there, John.
Yes, sorry, yep.
Craig Schultz has been able to come out in front of Timmy Mulford in that round of pit stops. Both very long stops, stationary for 42 and a half seconds, both of them. So they've obviously had a big drink and fresh boots, and they'll have to come back and make one more stop for some tyres, I'm guessing.
It definitely due. As Craig Schultz gets his way past Robbie Bradbury. And Timmy Mulford now be trying to get himself through in that gap pretty quick as well.
Yeah, I'm sure Craig will be feeling that if he can put a car or two between himself and Timmy Mulford, it'll give him a little bit of breathing space. Not sure what lap Robbie pitted on, but these two boys with fresh tyres are going to be pretty hard to contend with, I imagine.
Yeah, definitely a fair bit of work. Visma's in. Robbie pitted on lap 23. Sorry, lap 20. These other two, lap 23. So there's only 3 laps differences. Anthony Visma comes in for his stop. So the Viz, he's come in. I think he was lap 9. I think was his, sorry, lap 2 or 3 was his first stop, which I think might have been when he had all that damage from that incident. So he's done well to get himself up into the top 10. Brenton Hobson's closed the gap on Jordan Ross and got that under a second now. And Christian Smart, he's under pressure from Simon Vella. Or getting past Simon Vella.
Timmy Mulford's been able to get past Robbie Bradbury, so Tim will be heading straight up the road after his protagonist, Craig Schultz.
Yeah, definitely keep an eye on those two. That hopefully will close back up again as we continue on. Chris Smart starting at a little bit of a gap on Vella. Of course, Zach McDonald, he's still up 9 spots in 8th, running in the back half of the top 10. Bit of an uneventful race for the poor lad. He's 22 seconds behind McNamara and 15 seconds ahead of Kirby. Definitely a good session for getting some consistency for him. Putting in some good lap times too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a good test of your concentration when you're kind of on your own, but you've still got to try and be as consistent as possible. So yeah, good battle of his own mind for Zach tonight.
There's Jordan Ross putting a lot of pressure on Briggs now.
What lap did, sorry John, what lap did Dylan Rudd pit on?
Dylan Rudd, he pitted on lap 20 as well. So he's 3 laps after Ross and Hobson. I'll just bring up the pit strategy graphic for everyone to have a look at.
It was 42 seconds stationary as opposed to 30 from Hobson, Ross and Briggs. So Dylan obviously taking on a whole heap more fuel than the boys in front.
Yeah, definitely looking like that. They probably splash and dash at the end. McNamara did the same. He went 44.2. Kirby 44.8. So definitely some splash and dashes coming at the end, I think, for a few of these guys.
You know, it's about 8.5 to 9 seconds for a tyre stop, so I guess the boys in front here will be trying to squeeze as much fuel in that tyre stop as they can.
Yeah, definitely the way you'd go about it. A lap 27 of 44. See Jordan Ross nicely tucked up behind Adam Briggs. And a little bit of lap traffic coming up in front as well. Probably not the easiest spot to come across it. Will Munro nicely gets himself out of the way for these two. Is it? Hobson's still got to get through, but and he does.
Yeah, great job there from Will to give these boys some space to keep on racing within their own battle.
Steve, no, it's unlimited tyres tonight. So definitely don't need to worry about saving or looking after the tyres. So an extra set available to them.
I'm guessing the boys set the race and server up to give the boys a good hit out before the Pro Series tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's pretty much it. Try and mimic what they're going to have. Gives these guys a chance to have a look what their setups are like in race condition. Give them an idea where some of the bottleneck and traffic jams are going to be. And the 15-minute all-in qualifying session. These boys.
Briggsy's been doing a great job here in front of Jordan Ross. Not sure how much fuel Jordan's saving sitting in behind him there, but Briggsy's done an outstanding job so far tonight.
Yeah, looking very racy is Briggs. He's going to jump back, have a look at the Craig Schultz battle. He's tucked up behind Chris Smart again. These two had a cracking battle last season, and looks like they're picking up this season where they left off.
Yeah, not sure what's happened to Timmy Mulford, but Craig's been able to put quite a gap to him after they came into the pits, nose to tail.
Get a little bit of fresh rubber. So the only man on track at the moment to have made both of his stops, of course, is Anthony Visma. Everyone else has made one stop. So Visma made his final stop on lap 24. They're looking to get 20 laps out of a set of tyres, which is what we've seen the other boys do in their first stint. Not too many battles around the track at the moment, but still a long way to go. Adam Briggs is the man under the most pressure from team boss Jordan Ross behind. Jordan in a little bit of fuel saving mode. Brenton Hobson just staying close enough to hang on to the draft of these two.
Yeah, we've got about 15 laps to go, so we're probably going to start seeing within the next couple of laps all these front runners come in for their final stops.
Yeah, they'd be starting to think about it. See that gap back to Hobson. Yeah, right out on the curb there. Gap to the front. This is a battle, of course, for the podium positions. James Scott, 12 seconds in front of Adam Briggs in front of us here. Oh, a little bit loose from Briggs. That's cost him. That's lets Jordan Ross get through, I think, as we go side by side up the main straight. I think Ross will have the pace to get away with it. He tucks in. Briggs gets into the slipstream. Does he have something to come out with? No, he doesn't.
Of course, that leaves Brenton Hobson to close right up onto the rear of Briggs now.
It's only a very subtle loss of control. We'll see if we can pick it up in the replay.
Yeah, it's all about that exit speed, John.
Yep. A little bit twitchy under brakes. Enough to let him through. And Hobson now in the thick of the action.
Yeah, nothing like a little bit of commentator's curse to change positions.
Yeah, definitely working in our favour. A little bit of action. Robbie Bradbury into the pits for his second stop.
We've got, sorry, John, we've got Dylan Rudd in 5th place, who's really kind of struggling around on his own at the moment. He has got no one to draft with, so he's probably suffering a little bit on lap speed, but he did stop for a lot longer than the drivers in front. So, and as I say, he peels off into the pits for his second stop. So it's going to be interesting to see where he rolls
Turns
out
out.
in terms of Ross, Briggs and Hobson, because he was in front of them boys before they all took their stops, and his first stop was over 40 seconds.
Definitely going to be very interesting to see how this pans out. These three running together still. Rudd shuffling back down the order. Craig Schultz is their other battle pack. He's trying to hang on to Chris Smart. Chris is pulling away here. So definitely battling on. Jump back on with Ross. And Dylan Rudd's got himself back out in 7th position. It'll be hammer time for Dylan now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just for those playing along at home, Dylan's pit time was 11.1 seconds on that stop. So definitely chuck the fuel in while I put the tyres on and go. So definitely McNamara will probably be the same.
Christian Smart in again, so this is his third stop. He did have a drive-through. He's done a pretty good job considering he was sent off into the weeds early on in the race. He's had a drive-through and was sitting inside the top 10 prior to this third stop of his. So, yeah, not a bad night of driving from Christian considering all the stuff that's unfolded around him.
Here comes the threesome of Ross, Briggs and Hobson. So we're about to get our answer with Dylan Rudd. Dylan, of course, at the backside of the circuit, through the kink. Down through Kettle Bottoms.
He was 2 or 3 seconds behind these boys, so definitely going to be tired, I think.
Damien Johnstone moves up into second for the moment. As out of Bill Mitchell comes Rudd. Haven't seen these other boys start rolling yet. Head down for Dylan, up the hill. Briggs and they're all rolling. Very tight, they're just in front of him. Let's throw a 9.5 car into the mix. So the pit times for Ross Briggs, 18, 19 for Ross, 16 for Briggs. So Briggs probably a little bit less fuel again. The McNamara Rudd 2.5 seconds back. And Zach McDonald drops into the pits now. A 13 lap sprint home for these boys.
Yeah, I'm sure Dylan would have been hoping to be a little bit closer than what he was or what he is at the moment. But yeah, Briggsy's the one that's taken less fuel than everyone, so might hear Briggsy's clutch come in a few times.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what effect that has on him. James Scott, of course, he's still got to make his stop. He is a good 32 seconds up the road from John Stone, who's another 10 seconds up the road from McNamara, and then another 15 seconds. So it's at 25, nearly a minute up his sleeve for his last stop. I don't think there'll be too much dramas there for James Scott. But Briggs with the jump on Ross, got a little bit of space as well. Got that gap out to 1.1. Hobson tucked up behind Ross. And we're just closely watching Dylan Rudd, see if he can close that 2.7 gap down as we tick over these last few laps. And Zach McDonald, he is in a battle with Timmy Mulford. Timmy, of course, has to stop again. Zach's got his 2 stops out of the way. See, just coming out of the carousel, what a good set of tyres looks like. Thinking about going too wide through the King. Bit more braver than me, these boys. Answer your question, Hamish. Yes, 2 compulsory stops this evening. So Mulford under a bit of pressure here. Like to think McDonald, fresh set of tyres, Mulford loose. That opens the door up. And that's McDonald through on Mulford.
Timmy made it a little bit easy there for Zach.
Yeah, definitely made it the easiest possible. It's a circuit where it flows and you need to get the exits perfect of every corner.
Yeah, absolutely, especially on these big long straights. You really need to get good traction out of them corners and be able to get back to full throttle to 100% as quickly as possible.
See James Scott, sorry, Jordan Ross and Hobson absolutely on the button, using every inch of the exit of the King. And in the pit stop equation, we still got a few guys need to do their second stops. So Scott and McNamara need to do their second stops. So does John Stone, Kirby and Schultz. And then Mulford and Angus still need to do their second stop as well. So still a few boys need to get into the pits and get business done.
Brenton Hobson with the fastest lap of the race that last time around.
2:04.83. It's a cracking time from Hobbo. Definitely working hard to keep the pressure on Jordan Ross in front of him. That gap to Dylan Rudd's added a second to it now. It's out to 3.7 seconds. These boys have pulled away a bit.
Yeah, I think Dylan's strategy probably hasn't worked for him tonight. He took all that extra fuel in that first stop. Not sure if that was all fuel or if he missed a pit box or what happened, but yeah, being stationary for that 10 seconds longer hasn't worked out in his favour tonight, so he might be rethinking that strategy come tomorrow night.
Definitely plenty to think about. James Scott in the pits for his final stop. Don't think we'll see too much happen here. There's Sean McNamara, the man sitting in second. He's still got to stop as well, but he's going to go another lap. And then we come back to Briggs. So James Scott, he should be rolling about now, so he's heading back out on the track. Expect him to still be a bit in front of Briggs. He's a good 8 seconds up the road. Make that 9 seconds now. Jordan Ross and Hobson keeping the battle close here. Sort of staying with these guys. This is the closest battle on track. Over the 21 car field, we've got 4 retirees already in Jared Faisal, Dave Coleman, Tom Freer, Riley Bilson. The The first 22 laps of the race was an epic battle between Scott and Faisal. Unfortunately, Jared dropping out. And has left Jordan Scott up the front by himself with a good 10-second lead over this battle here with Briggs, Ross and Hobson. Lap 35 of 44, starting to head down towards the end of the race.
James Scott just making his way past Sean McNamara now, back into the lead. Sean's still yet to make his second stop.
Of course, Sean 10 seconds up the road.
We've still got the three SSR boys, Adam Briggs, Jordan Ross, Brent and Hobson all still nose to tail. We did see Briggsy take a couple of seconds less fuel than the other boys, so I'm not sure if that's going to come into play towards the end with only 8.5 laps to go. I'm not sure if Adam's going to have to start saving fuel to maintain his ability to finish the race. But I guess we'll find out in 8.5 laps.
Yeah, time is definitely ticking on.
And Dylan Rudd fallen another second behind these boys. It's blown out to 4.5 seconds now.
A bit surprising. I thought Dylan might have got himself into this battle.
I've got no doubt if he had been able to pick up another couple of seconds and get into the draft, he would have been right in the mix here, but yeah, just hasn't been able to close it down. So really kind of second half of the race he's basically circulated on his own, which probably a little bit frustrating for Dylan tonight.
Yeah, and just highlights the importance of the draft around this place. Okay, something that these boys need to be very conscious of tomorrow night.
Of course, yeah, the importance of the draft is, one, you can maintain high speeds, but it also allows you to save plenty of fuel. So, which is probably where we've seen some of these boys in front capitalise, with Jordan Ross making a move on Adam Briggs there by the look of it.
Briggs getting a bit loose coming out. Still too wide. And can he hang on to this down through Hurry Downs? Hobson now getting into the back of this little battle as well. It's probably what Dylan Rudd wants these boys to start fighting. Probably still a good 7.5 laps to go.
Yeah, because Hobbo will be thinking he wants to keep his 100% podium record for this season running. Hobbo just missed the turn in a little bit there.
Jordan not pulling away from Briggsy here, like one would expect. Will Munro dives into the pits, 3 second stop.
It's going to be difficult for Jordan to get away. Briggsy will be tucked right up under his wing, just getting that draft. Of course, what we've seen tonight is a few times is where people have just missed their brake marker by a metre or two trying to defend their position and end up going too deep and then losing 1 or 2 spots.
It definitely been minor mistakes costing dearly for a few of these guys. Briggs thinks about the inside, tucks back in behind.
Yeah, Adam didn't quite get the exit he wanted off turn 3 there, so got to tuck back in and try and pick another spot, maybe down into Canada Corner.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, a big thank you to our banner sponsor, West End Motor Group, which consists of Too Easy Finance, Parramatta Mazda, Parramatta Isuzu Utes, Parramatta Peugeot Professional, Parramatta City of Vale and Great Wall Motors, Blacktown Mazda and Blacktown City of Vale and Great Wall Motors. So if you are in the Sydney market for a motor vehicle, make sure you go and check the crew out at West End Motor Group.
Yeah, absolutely. Big shout out to the boys at West End Motor Group. Their continued support of this series is well and truly appreciated, and they're big contributors to a lot of series in the Australian sim racing community. So a big thank you to them.
That's very much appreciated, as these boys still battling it out. Laps ticking away.
Yeah, we're down to 6 to go now, so this is really for the podium, these 3 boys battling out. We've still got Sean McNamara in second, but he's still got to make his second stop, so bit of a tyre test, I think, for Sean and the 9.5 Sim Sport crew for tomorrow night, by the look of it.
Yeah, definitely a long way to go, and we still also have, I believe, Kirby, Schultz to pit again, and Mulford and Michael Angus. So still a few boys need to roll through for their last journey down the pit lane. I think a few of the boys down towards the back are probably still praying for a safety car. Shake it up. Try the old commentator's curse and see if we get one. A little bit loose there from Ross this time, coming out of the corner. Be careful not to shake the tyres up too much.
Oh yeah, we'll have 5 to go after they complete this lap. So yeah, lap's definitely starting to run down for these boys.
Of course, James Scott is a good 13, 14 seconds up the road from these guys. They just shuffle back down a little bit more. Zach McDonald, Craig Schultz still needs to stop again. He's up 9 spots in 9th. Zach McDonald, he's had a great race. He's still in the top 10, sitting in 7th. And as I said, we've got a couple of boys still need to stop again in front of him. And then we've got Mulford needs to stop. Anthony Visma, he's done really well to fight his way back. Did a very good start. Caught up in some traffic. He's going to jump up the front here. James Scott. Hobson's making a move.
Yeah, Briggs has got past Ross, and Hobson's gone with him, which will be pretty infuriating for Jordan Ross here.
Here we go. It's going to be interesting. I think Hobbo's going to get hung out to dry here a little bit. No, he hangs tough. Some great side-by-side racing. And Ross shuffled from the front to the back of this group. Oh, big bump there from Hobson. Not sure what that was.
I think he just got caught up on the ripple strip there.
That's allowed half a car length for Briggs to pull away. What can Ross do here? No, out of legs again. Of course, still waiting for McNamara to pit again. But
Yeah, so we've got 4 to go, John. So time definitely running out for these boys. And Jordan Roth has pretty much been punted off the podium by his 2 teammates after losing 2 spots there. So he'll be desperately trying to at least get past Brenton Hobson here to get his foot back on the podium.
Definitely playing for sheep stations now as we get into the tail end of this race. Looks to the inside a little bit, comes back. Trying to get the power down, coming out of the apex.
Pretty even exit from all 3 drivers there coming out of turn 3.
Coming down the hill. Probably a little bit too deep from Ross. But still there and abouts. Zach McDonald, now he's caught up to Craig Schultz in front of him. Of course, Schultz still needs to do another stop. So a great drive from Zach. It's going to move himself up into 9th, I think, in a minute.
Dave Kirby, another one that's still got to make a second stop as well by the look of it.
It definitely needs those second stops to be done. By my records, we've got Sean McNamara, Kirby and Schultz, Mulford, Angus all need to make another stop. I expect Mason would be rolling the dice for that safety car, but I don't think you're going to get a safety car come out when you've got 2.5 laps to go. Briggsy looking quite composed. Jordan Ross still trying to get into the back of this pack again.
Yeah, lost a little bit of ground coming into the last corner, and a little bit of ground, made it back up under the toe coming up the front straight, and we'll make even more ground here going down the back straight. So still in with a chance, still 2.5 laps to go.
As we've seen tonight, doesn't need to be a big mistake, little lock up can all it takes.
Two mistakes from Briggsy in 2 corners.
Yep. Hobbo trying to capitalise, but not the certain part of the track where you can. Briggsy blocks. Pushes Jordan out wide.
Been great racing from these three boys the whole race tonight.
Yep, 3 very clean cars. And I think for most of this 44 or 43 laps that we've seen, you could throw a blanket over these guys. A little bit loose from Jordan that time.
Because the hardest thing for Jordan here is that even though he's getting a tow, the car in front of him's getting a big tow as well. So makes it very difficult for Jordan to get enough speed to make a move. 2 laps to go. We almost got our podium decided. Certainly James Scott well and truly out in front. We've got Sean McNamara looking like he's going to have to make a stop this time around, otherwise he'll end up probably DQ'd. Hobbo with a good run down the back straight.
Is he going to get it done here? Jordan will be watching this closely. No, here we go. Here comes Jordan. Briggsy with the late clock up. Hobson's through. Ross has gotten through as well. A little bit of lucky there for Briggs. I wonder whether he's got fuel issues as well. He's dropped back a little bit extra.
It's 2 laps in a row. We saw Briggsy make the same mistake down into turn 5. So I don't think it's fuel. I think it's just a case he's just trying to defend too hard and running out of road. So unfortunate for Adam, but looks like Hobbo and Jordan Ross have sealed their spot on the podium with James Scott with only 1 lap to go.
Let's get over a very quick look at Chris Smart. He's caught up behind Michael Angus, but Michael, this is a little battle for 13th, 14th. These two still racing for positions. Zach McDonald, he's managed to get himself past Craig Schultz. Schultz, he's still got a stop by my records. Man Hobson, still under a lot of pressure from James Scott. Sorry, from Jordan Ross. As James Scott starts the last lap. So this race starting to wind down. Here comes Ross on Hobson. The boy can drive.
Jordan saving the best to last. Not sure if some of these boys didn't read the regs for this race, but looking like we might have a few DQs.
Yeah, a bit surprising. No, might be a bit the other way, Mark.
We didn't read the regs?
Interesting by Ash Barella. Regs don't say the track condition notes don't say anything about 2 stops, so that might be the undone there. I think I'm just.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm gonna blame John for that. He fed me the wrong information.
Oh yeah, blame me. I might just see if I can actually check the regs themselves. That's the only spot where I can think of something might be written. We'll come back to that later.
If that's the case, then it's a stellar bit of strategy from Sean McNamara.
Yeah. Normally it's written, how many compulsory stops and tyres and everything else, but Ash hasn't put it in. As Jordan Ross takes the checkered flag. Great drive from Jordan. Sorry, from James Scott. I've had a shocker tonight. Sean McNamara. He's going to sneak it home. Hobson. Oh, it's to the line. Wow. Am I reading that correctly? It's a dead heat. It is a dead heat. Between Ross and Hobson. Wow. I don't think I've seen that too often in iRacing.
I don't think I've ever seen a dead heat.
0.000. Wow. Wow, that's all I can say to that. That is pretty impressive in that self there. I'm just going to quickly, while we have a look at these final positions. Yep. So no compulsory stops tonight. I can concur that we don't have that locked in into the regs like we do in other leagues. So yeah, well done, Mr. McNamara on P2.
Yeah, well done to Sean. He obviously knew what he was doing. What about that finish between Jordan Ross and Brendan Hobson? Just gone side on view there, and they are absolutely dead straight across that line. So first time I've seen a dead heat in a race in iRacing.
Let's just see if we can get that to come up. Here we go. Oh no, that's the start of the lap. And we might just bring in our race winner, James Scott. Well done, James.
Thank you.
That was looking like it was going to be a very close battle there between you and Jared. And then Jared went in for an early stop and didn't come back. So I'm assuming some technical difficulties there.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he needed to go to the toilet, to be honest.
That's a technical difficulty.
Probably had a couple of tins before the race or something. And, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, no, it was cars are really good. So yeah, no, yeah, looking forward to tomorrow.
That sounds like it's going to be good tomorrow. Looking forward to it as well. Sean, P2, a little bit of trickery there. Ash usually copies what's going on for the Pro Series, and he left off the compulsory pit stops tonight. Well done.
That he did. Paying a fuel saver, I can't stand it. But it's brilliant. Made a couple of little mistakes early and sort of dropped off the back of the toe. So I thought, we'll stuff it. I'll go the one stopper.
And it's paid off.
Yeah, I could hear you clutching quite a lot tonight, Sean. So yeah, clearly ended up the right strategy for you.
Yeah, I think, like I said, just once we dropped off the back of that toe, it's just you're just losing time. So sort of nothing to lose. Good fun tonight, and yeah, saved a lot of fuel. So still lap pace was okay. So puts us in good stead tomorrow. See how we go.
Yeah, it does put you in really good stead for tomorrow, and just really highlights, I guess, for tomorrow as well, that you've really got to try and stay in that toe, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. It's James and I were joking about it during the week, but yeah, it's big around here, and you know, once you fall off it, and it's quite a long way back too, but once you fall off it, you're gone. So yeah, hopefully everyone can play it smart tomorrow night and see if everyone's there at the end.
And of course, the man who was in P3, Brenton Hobson, hasn't come in, spoke to us yet. But the man who he dead heated with, Jordan Ross, is here. How are you, Jordan?
Good. What are you doing, Sean? Not pitting, mate.
No, you know, mate. Fuel economy
Sean just wanted to come and speak to you. Sean just wanted to come and speak to you, Rixie.
It's been a while.
No, Ash didn't type anything in about compulsory pit stops. It wasn't until the end of the race that Mark and I worked it out. It's like, hang on.
Oh, no. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
On the money.
Someone
read the rules.
So what's the go with you and Hobbo dead heating?
Yeah, was it? I don't know.
Yeah, it was
just looking at the times now. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
0.000.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I have to toss a coin of how we worked that one out, but.
And we're all on different sets too, and we still can't figure it out. So.
Interesting battle. Like, you guys were really the main battle pack, yourself, Briggsy and Hobbo, and it just really highlighted how very small mistakes can be very costly at a track like this.
Yeah, every time one of us got in front, we made a little mistake. But we made it interesting because James just goes like 10 seconds in front of everyone and cruises along, and he's boring. So at least we made it interesting for you guys tonight. Did something.
That you did. Anyone you want to give a shout out to, Macca?
Yeah, all the 95 boys for everything to do. Ruddy for what he does for us, massively appreciated. All the series sponsors, of course, you lovely gentlemen for every week having a chat and a yarn. And I think we've got some sponsors: Racecraft Simulations, Turn-in Race Apparel, RSW Graphics, Racing Years, Custom Years Protection, and Prestige Cinematography.
That's pretty cool. And I'm going to throw it to you, Jordan, because you do it so well.
All the guys at SSR and you guys for putting on the series and rolling up every week and doing all this stuff. Thank you.
It's all too good. So next week we're off to Jerez doing the moto circuit, so we don't do the Senna chicane. Any thoughts on that track, boys?
I think I've got to rewind all of my cassettes next week.
Might need to download it.
Yeah, I might need to buy it, I think.
Exactly.
Is it free? What is it?
It's a good track. We did it in Vets, I think, the season ago, and it was good fun. It does create some good racing as well, so I think we'll be looking forward to seeing what you boys can do on that one. Couple of other highlights. Zach McDonald was up 8 spots and finished in the top 10. That was a great performance from one of your boys, Sean.
Yeah, young Zach's going well.
Yeah, he done very well.
Yeah, Craig did a good job too. He was up 8 spots. So, yeah, good night for them boys.
Yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much Sean up 7, of course. That's pretty much all I can really think of, Mark. A big thank you, of course, to everyone out in the chat that's been watching tonight. Of course, the long 290k race, the smallish field gets a little bit interesting at times. Big thank you to all the drivers, of course. Put on a good show. Would have been nice if Jared could have held his bladder in a bit longer, so we could have seen that battle go to the end. And of course, a big thank you to our race control boys. I'm sure they were absolutely flat out tonight, but they've managed to get the job done. And of course, we'll see everybody again next week at the same time for the wonderful Spanish track Jerez. So, and of course, a big thank you to Mark Duggan as well for jumping in and joining the chat with me. And
Pleasure, John. Great night of racing. Well done to the podium.
Yeah, and we'll see everybody again next week. Night all.
There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, two-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small, some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name. Well, technically it's our first.